Welcome to The Life of Hair. My name's James Atkinson. Thank you for joining me in this week's episode. Now, this week's episode is my very first trend report, and this video was inspired by my good friend Paul Watts on his channel. He did a trend report video, and I thought, you know what, actually, let's see what I think the trends are going to be versus what Paul thinks the trends are going to be. So this isn't a comparison video to his video. This is purely what I feel, and I may concur with what he feels, and in some ways I'm absolutely sure I do. But equally, I think there are some things that we will disagree on. So thank you very much, Paul, for the inspiration to make this video. And I will always give credit where credit is due. This is going to be a rundown of some of the things that I think will be big hair trends in 2021, if we ever get to do any hair again. I'm sure we will very soon. Well, I certainly hope we do very soon anyway. I'm enjoying being at home, but equally I'm really itching to get back in the salon and actually putting some of the things that are out there as trends into practice. If you enjoy this week's episode, please do hit that thumbs up button. That makes a big difference to how the videos perform. And do subscribe if you're new to the channel. And if you have any thoughts about any of the trends and topics I brought up in this video, then please let me know down in the comment section. So, what are the trends going to be? Well, I think the first thing we should always think about is not necessarily what the trends are going to be, but how those trends feel. And if we think about, especially England, we're in a very deep recession now, and people will be financially not so capable of keeping up really high maintenance hairstyles. So that will overall affect the trend. So what we're going to see is more natural. Think natural in terms of hair trends and the way that people will wear their hair, because they spent the best part of the year kind of not really caring too much about their hair. They would like it to look nice. They probably want it refreshing, but they probably also want to kind of take a step back from having such high maintenance hair. Now, in another episode, I'm going to talk about hair color trends. So we're going to focus primarily today on hair cutting trends, and with a little twist at the end of this video. So do hang around for that specifically. So when we talk about trends and the way that trends emerge and evolve, and as I mentioned, you know, the current financial circumstances of a nation or a society will always impact on how a trend takes off. So for me, you're going to see a lot of people wanting to chop a lot of hair off. So we're going to have a lot of blunt bobs where people are just sick of their hair growing down, and they're like, right, I want a complete change, a nice chic blunt bob shape that is really easy to wear, whether your hair's curly, straight, wavy. The weight of the hair will keep it all in place. As you can see, the two examples that I've popped up on the screen here are fantastic versions of that blunt bob shape. Just because it's a blunt bob doesn't mean it has to be boring and just, you know, all the way around. It can be interesting to wear also, and actually one of my absolute favorite haircuts to cut just because of the precision of it, you know, getting everything to sit really nicely. And I do have some great tips and tricks on cutting a really neat bob without kind of causing yourself too much aggravation. They're over on my channel. Go to the playlists, click on to the cutting playlist, and there's a couple of bob videos on there that kind of take you through getting the best results from cutting a bob. So I think probably the big trend though really in the bob domain is definitely going to be this kind of French bob that everyone's talking about. Super short. It's not going to be for everyone. Remember, if you've kind of got a rounder face shape, which I know all clients tend to think they have, which you haven't, guys, by the way, you definitely haven't all got round face shapes. That French bob is a great shape on so many face shapes. If you've got a rectangular face shape, if you've got an oval face shape, if you've got a heart-faced, you know, it fits really well. And if you wear it with texture and movement as well, you know, adds width to the longer face shapes. And it's a really fantastic haircut for so many of us. So that's a cracking haircut, really easy to wear and really low maintenance, which is going to be the theme of 2021. Hairdressers may regale or rejoice at this idea, but I think long layers are going to make a comeback. Very subtle, very soft, long layers, invisible layers. I have actually got a video about invisible layers that I have been meaning to bring out for quite a while, so maybe I'll get around to doing that one pretty soon. Longer fringes are still going to be very trendy in 2021. You know, they're super easy maintenance. When people are tying their hair up a lot and not going out so much, you know, having that little bit of softness around the face is always a fantastic thing, you know, for people who are maybe conscious of having all their hair scraped back off their face. So I don't think we're going to see the long fringe disappear, but what we are going to see is a little bit more movement on longer hair shapes. People that have grown their hair down are enjoying that extra length, but feel it's got a little bit heavy and a little bit flat, and a nice long layer will kind of just lift and bring out a bit more movement in that longer hair shape. One haircut that I am absolutely 100% sure that will go from strength to strength in 2021 is the shag. I've got so many shag videos because you can cut it so many different ways on so many different people. In fact, my most popular video ever, bar none, is a shag haircut, and it's actually just cut on a mannequin head, and the other shag haircuts are generally speaking all cut on clients. But I think, you know, when you talk about this haircut, it's great if your hair's fine, it's great if your hair's straight and fine, it's great if your hair's curly and fine, it's great if your hair's thick, it's great if your hair is any texture, because it's just one of those haircuts. If it's wavy and beachy, great, you know, it just suits so many hair textures and types, because it's one of those haircuts, it's very liberating. It's not about it looking perfect and pristine. It wants to be worn with a bit of texture, some sea salt spray, a little bit of product in the hair. It will never go amiss with a shag, and really just show off that movement that the haircut creates by nature. So the next thing we're going to see lots and lots of people embracing, and that is their curls. As you can see, I've been embracing mine for a pretty long time already, but people will definitely be embracing their curls in 2021 and beyond, like way beyond. I think culture and society have definitely started to embrace curls, you know, wearing natural, very curly textures out and being free, and, you know, just really people not feeling like they need to hide the fact that they've got really curly hair, and just going with the flow with it. Because, you know, lots of people have just been at home wearing their hair out natural. Their hair's had chance to recover from lots of straightening and, you know, thermal abuse, and their hair curl textures come back, or they've dried their hair naturally a lot and they've kind of discovered products that really amplify that. And also society's just getting on board corporate jobs, whereas previously it was considered to look untidy. They're just not so bothered by it these days, and it really very much is a different world that we live in now, and that can only be a fantastic thing, in my humble opinion, for, you know, going forward in society, and people not feeling awkward and shy about their natural hair texture. I think that is just unbelievable that we ever got into that position in the first place. Final trend I want to talk about here is the little black dress of hairdressing, and it is the pixie crop. It just never really goes away, but I can see more and more people just wanting to liberate themselves by cutting their hair really, really short. It's going to be those people that want to go from growing their hair out for a really long time, just going to get rid of my hair, I just don't care about it anymore, you know, just let it be short, and I don't want to have to think about it, and I just don't care anymore. I'm just liberated enough that life's too short. I've had a very, very challenging time with COVID or whatever, and people are just going to be open to change. And so remember that, guys, when you've got your clients sitting in their chair, you know, when you've been through a turbulent time and you're going into a new space in your life and your existence, quite often that will come with big changes, and people tend to take those big changes out on their hair. All the hairdressers that are watching this right now will all know of a time when a client's come to them and they're either heavily pregnant, or they've just discovered they're pregnant, or they've just separated from a partner. They want to completely radically change their hair because emotionally they're going through these big changes, and they try and take those big changes out on their hair. Now, I'm always very careful about doing things to people who I know very well that might change their mind very quickly, but I think this has been like no other time in history, and it's going to be super important that we go with the flow on how the clients are feeling post lockdown, because lots of people have just not been out of their homes for such a very long time. If you have an office job and your office is closed and you're working from home for an entire year or more, then once this starts to ease towards the end of 2021, fingers crossed, we are going to see people really wanting to shake up their styles. So I hope you found this trend report interesting. This is what I foresee for probably the majority of 2021, really. There will be some trends and fads emerge, as there is every single year. A couple of weeks' time, I'll probably make one about a colour trending. I've got my eye on some ideas for colour trends, so don't forget, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to catch that, because there's all sorts of videos posted on this channel every single week, all with a common thread of being hair related. So thank you guys, look after yourself. Thank you very much guys, and I will see you again in the next episode.